Hello everyone, this is Goat here. What happened in the tennis world this week? One player achieved back-to-back titles without dropping a single set, while another pulled off a stunning upset by defeating world-class players one after another. But here's the shocking part. All the tournament favorites crashed out early. Last week marked the end of this year's clay court season. The runs by two players we'd never seen before were absolutely phenomenal. The Czech tournament saw an unexpected champion, and the Washington 500 delivered twist after twist, completely defying my predictions and resulting in some pretty dismal forecasting numbers. Chaotic weekly tennis review. Let's dive right in. Let's start with the men's tournaments. Bublik followed up last week's Gstaad title with another consecutive championship. With no real strong rivals in the field, I thought back-to-back wins were possible, but I never expected him to claim the title so perfectly without dropping a set. Kitzbuhel continued his upward trajectory following Wimbledon and Gstaad, with another strong showing here. His level of play was so good that he probably would have achieved better results in both tournaments if only Bublik hadn't been there. Van de Zandschulp broke out of a long slump to reach the semifinals. Whether this is just a flash in the pan or something we can continue to expect remains to be seen. Here too, following last week, Darderi claimed his second consecutive title. Fernandez, who I thought would be a strong contender, still seems unable to find his form. With his first-round exit opening the door for Darderi's back-to-back run, he achieved the double without much difficulty. Taberner had a really solid clay court showing. He defeated Fernandez in the second round, last week's runner-up De Jong in the quarterfinals, Umag in the semifinals, and made it all the way to the final. He's not exactly young, but he's starting to shine. Looking forward to his clay season performance next year. Unlike Kitzbuhel, the players mentioned from Umag are clay court specialists, so we probably shouldn't expect much from them during the North American hard court season. Now let's head to Washington, where the biggest upset occurred. With head-to-head records evenly matched, Minaur barely managed to defeat Davidovich Fokina, who had climbed up by consecutively beating America's top-ranked players to claim his first title of the season. Unlike Fokina's path, the troublesome Medvedev and Musetti crashed out early, giving him a smooth route to the final. But he had a really tough match, overwhelmed by Fokina's momentum. Honestly, it wouldn't have been surprising at all if Fokina had won. With his characteristic tenacious play, he turned a 3-hour and 5-minute battle into victory, even after allowing 3 match points. I want to give Fokina high marks for beating the red-hot Fritz and the equally impressive Shelton to reach the final. However, his ability to close out matches is still somewhat lacking, and the high likelihood that this level of play won't carry over to the next tournament seems to be why he can't break into the upper ranks. The prolonged struggles of Tiafoe, Rublev, and Medvedev are really disappointing, especially Rublev and Medvedev, who were called the next generation. I think we have to accept that their skills have declined. 3 consecutive Grand Slam first-round exits and early tournament eliminations don't even seem strange anymore. With the hegemony shifting from Big 3 to Big 2, their struggles feel even more disappointing. Now let's look at the women's tournaments. Pliskova defeated Valentova and Noskova, who I thought would be contending for the title, to claim her first title of the year. This victory is quite surprising since there were no special signs leading up to it, especially considering her dismal hard court season performance in the first half of this year. Given that Pliskova's preferred surface is hard courts and she's been winning at least one match in recent tournaments, I'm really curious to see how she'll perform in this North American hard court season. Czech rising star Valentova has recorded only 2 losses since Roland Garros, and in between has swept consecutive WTA 125 tournaments on both clay and hard courts, growing into a star we need to watch. I think this North American hard court season will be a great opportunity to see if this player has what it takes to be a top-ranked player. Please remember this name. After a really long time, Fernandez and Kalinskaya met in the final with dominant performances. Some were hoping for a 2021 US Open final rematch, but Kalinskaya didn't allow that to happen. While it was an anticipated matchup, the match content was a complete Fernandez victory. Having defeated joint Pegula and Rybakina on her way up, her title feels even more legitimate. On the other hand, Kalinskaya defeated relatively easier opponents on her way up. That doesn't mean her journey was easy though. The fact that she reached the final without dropping a set against Rakimova, Linette, Townsend, and Raducanu, all on the rise lately, deserves recognition. Both players' performances came after long periods of struggle. I hope they can ride this momentum to show great tennis in the North American hardcourt season 2. Raducanu seems to be building momentum, reaching the semifinals in this tournament following her Wimbledon performance. We'll have to see if she can ride this wave to write another US Open Cinderella story. Now it's time for the real hardcourt season. This week brings the Canadian Masters. Next week, the Cincinnati Masters. And then 1 week later, the year's final Grand Slam, the US Open. I'm really excited to see whether last week's clay court results will translate into meaningful hardcourt performances, and whether last week's hardcourt results will provide momentum for great showings in other tournaments. I think watching how far they go with these expectations can be another viewing point. I'll strive to make this weekly tennis review one that highlights those viewing points for you. I'll be back next week with even more interesting stories. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and thank you so much for watching.